So he left, thank goodness. And that's the story of when the grown man, this man looked like he was in his 30s. I don't know how old he was, but he definitely looked like he was in his 30s at least. And if he could have had his way with me, he would have. But I thank goodness that some sense came into me, and God made sure he left, and it was over. Hey y'all, welcome to Receive and Relate. This is your first time here. I'm so glad you clicked on this video for story time. If you are a returning subscriber, or if you are just coming back again for story time, welcome back. Hey y'all, hey. So this story is about another time when I was molested. This would be another grown man as well, unfortunately. And so here it goes. So I had visited my half sister again. Went to visit her again, and this time we hung out. We went to her friend's house we went over there to eat some crabs. And when we got there, she introduced me to her friend that lived there, and I believe it was her friend's boyfriend. And then there was this guy that was just sitting in the living room, right? And so first we all sat in there together, everybody, sat down, and the only space that was available in her living room to sit was by him. So it was kind of like this love seat type of thing. So we wasn't like up on each other like this, but he was on one end of it and I was on the other end of it, but it's close enough because a love seat is not as long as a couch. You know what a love seat is, right? So then there was a time when my sister, her friend, and the boyfriend went into the kitchen to start eating their crabs. Now, to this day, I don't understand why my sister didn't ask me, was I ready to come in to eat? Did you want to come in? But she didn't. She left me in there. And this man he started talking to me. That's what they do. Predators do. They start off friendly, like you just making this small talk conversation. And then it shifted into him complimenting me and stuff like that and saying how pretty of a girl I was. And then he began to touch me. He began to touch my breasts, and he began to touch, private areas. And he put his hand down my panties and inside my vagina. And he was talking to me in my ear. And if you are not a person who this has never happened to, some people don't understand. People will be quick to say, well, why you let him do it? Why you let him do it? If you go back and read and listen to my stories, or just listen to me right here, right, and just listen and understand this. Victims or people who have been molested more than once, and over a series of time, begin to feel as though, this is what I was feeling. I began to feel like I had molest me written on my forehead. So it started to become, unfortunately, I felt like this was the norm, and it didn't. I was 16 at this time, and it didn't just become the norm at 16. It started to become the norm at like 9, 10. You know what I mean? But that's what happens. And so I got to a place where I was just like, here we go again. I guess this is happening again. Like, I literally thought I had that written on my forehead. So eventually, so what happened was he kept he was a neighbor, and he lived behind them. And so he kept trying to get me to go to his house. And I just was like, as much as I didn't know how to say stop back then, I wasn't trying to go this grown man. I was definitely very much a virgin. I wasn't trying to go all the way there. So I did force myself to get up and went into the kitchen. So I went into the kitchen. I stood there like at first, cause when I was in the kitchen watching them eat crabs. He eventually came in there too. And I seen him from across the kitchen. He kept trying to make eye contact with me. He kept trying to say like, come on. But I ignored him. I kept ignoring him. And even though I ain't really know God like that, then I still knew it was a God. And I was praying in my head, and I was just like, please just let this man leave. Just let him leave, Lord. Please help him, let him leave. And eventually he left. He ain't even say bye. He just left. And he left, thank goodness. And that's the story of when the grown man, this man looked like he was in his 30s. I don't know how old he was, but he definitely looked like he was in his 30s at least. And if he could have had his way with me, he would have. But I thank goodness that some sense came into me, and God made sure he left, and it was over. And so that's the story of that predator, right? If you're enjoying this story, or if you're enjoying story time, please make sure you come back. I encourage you to come back. If you have any stories like this, drop a line in the comment section. This story and other stories are in the description box below. The link in the book called Cage Girl. The link will be in the description box below. Remember, people receive when they can relate. Make sure y'all come back. I love you, but know that God loves you more. Bye-bye.